Issue is this pharmacon something you apply as an ointment or something that you drink? And even its application in the narrative, which Stephen identifies, is problematic.
Welcome back to MythVision Podcast. I'm Derek Lambert, your host, and I'm joined by an expert in Greek, 60 plus years, Dr. Dennis R. MacDonald. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm tired, but it's been a pleasure to be with you for 2 days.
Same here. Look, we had to squeeze in another video here. I got a question from Stephen Nelson from crossbible.com. He's a buddy of mine who also is a genius when it comes to dealing with Greek material.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's been quite a bunch of fuss about Amon Hillman or David Hillman, the YouTuber, Lady Babylon, and all of these enthusiasts that I think are interested in Greek because of his enthusiasm and his excitement, but also I think he's selling them a bunch of bullshit sometimes. But he's doing it in a way that they like. It's like, oh, it's entertaining, and I get that. But, you know, we want the truth. Right? We want to know what really is going on and how to understand this language. So let me ask Stephen's question, and then let's dive into this a bit. Dr. MacDonald, Dr. Hillman claims that the phrase harm to your mind here in the Greek implies that the nurse does, in fact, want to harm Hippolytus and Hippolytus' mind by drugging him. Pause. I think we need to tell our audience who's watching, we're actually talking about a quote from Euripides Hippolytus, and Phaedra is there.
Okay.
So I'll show that on the screen here. You can see it, pause the video, check out this image, read it for yourself, and let's continue. This clearly, talking about Ammon, Dr. Hillman, this clearly ignores the negation ute, which suggests the exact opposite. Neither harm of the mind, also the short form of the pronoun you, indicates that the nurse is reassuring Phaedra that the love potion will not harm her mind. They are not talking about administering a drug to Hippolytus. Hillman also claims that when Phaedra asks if the love potion is an ointment, the fact that she uses the adjective Christon, pharmakon, is a groundbreaking piece of linguistic data. This is held to be proof positive that the word Christ is actually a drug term. He further asserts that the proper translation of Christon pharmakon should be Christ with a capital C, in order to alert readers to the alleged connection between the Judeo-Christian concept of the anointed Messiah and the ancient Greek usage of the drug term kryo for the application of medical and nauseous drugs. According to this theory, the designation Christ implied that Jesus was Christed in the sense of taking drugs and trafficking drugs. Can you explain why Phaedra's reference to a made-up topical drug is a mundane, uneventful usage of a common Greek term to describe an ointment, despite the etymological connection to the later title of Christ, a metaphorically anointed figure? Should you or any of your colleagues in the field of classics or Greek studies view this usage by Euripides of the verbal adjective Christos as being remarkable or having some paradigm-shifting implications for our understanding of the Judeo-Christian usage of the adjective Christos to refer to someone who is literally or metaphorically anointed for some divine purpose? When Euripides is translated into English, should Christos be translated here as Christ rather than being translated as ointment or topical? Thank you, Stephen, for the question. Dennis, how do you feel about that question, and what are your thoughts?
I think Stephen just knocked it out of the park. Now, I don't have my Greek lexicon in front of me, and so I haven't done the work myself, but he certainly is right. Kryo is simply a verb that means to anoint. And yes, it's related to a pharmakon, a drug, if you will, but it could be identified with lots of things. The most obvious one is oil. Where you have an anointing of oil. Now, why would you want to capitalize Christon and not poton? Because that's an either or. the issue is this pharmacon, this medication, and it's a maybe an aphrodisiac, is it a topical, that is, it is an ointment, or is it potable, that is something you drink? So I think you ought to capitalize Poton too, and look around in the world for a god named Poton, or Potas. You know, it's ridiculous. And by the way, the Greeks, the idea of a Greek text that you have to take the he, the X or the C, if you will, and capitalize it, is irresponsible philologically. You cannot get away with that. And so I just think top to bottom, this is just, it's a cause that's looking for evidence and it's screwing up the evidence. That's what it is. And, you know, he wants to consider Christian or the Christian movement a drug movement and so on. So he already knows that. He's just looking for evidence for it. And this is really foolishness.
Yeah, so he's asked this a lot. It's his one of the go-tos that he uses, like a proof text to try and like score points and make people look dumb. Danny Jones has been like his middleman in accomplishing this, and I really wish Danny had, you know, real, you know, classicists come in. Stephen, I try to get him Stephen, right? But so they tackle these Bible scholars. They had Bart Ehrman in an interview, and it embarrassed Bart, right? And had to have a clip taken out because I think Bart thought that Christos was not used prior to the Septuagint at all in Greek literature. But then again, Bart's also not a classicist at all. Like, it's not his field. You, however, went to Harvard and learned both classics as well as Bible, correct?
Yeah.
So you got your hands in both worlds, and you're able to kind of see this. And who better than you to kind of take a look at this and go, hey, what the hell's going on with this guy?
One of the things I'd love to do if I were to do more research on this is to find out how popular the Hippolytus was. Because if this is the only thing that he can scratch out, it's not in the major literature that the Greeks would have been exposed to. So this is an exception one way or the other. But it is not an exceptional problem. The issue is this pharmacon something you apply as an ointment or something that you drink? And even its application in the narrative, which Stephen identifies, is problematic. So then to make that into the background for the Christ, when you have the Septuagint understanding of the anointment of oil for the king, or even I believe a prophet. I mean, it's just wacko. It's a cause looking for evidence and then messing up the evidence.
Thank you so much.